Good evening, everybody. The date is March 2nd, 2022. Welcome to our school board meeting. I'd like to get a roll call, please. Mr. Sloan.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Henry?
Here.
Mr. Llewellyn?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Mundy?
Here.
If I can get you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Down to my far left, your right, is Nathan Mundy, a board member. Next to him is Mr. Don Henry, board member. Our superintendent, Dr. Andrea Townsend. My name is Joe Cox. I'm the current board president. To my right, again, your left, is Leslie Miller, board member. John Llewellyn, board member. And then got Ryan Sloan, our treasurer, all the way to the right. Out in the audience, we've got our assistant superintendent, Melissa Tice, our business manager, Jack Haig, and then here with us tonight is Mr. Glover from CF Holiday, and welcome to our new football coach, Mr. Mobley. All right. Item number 5, it is recommended that the agenda for March 2nd, 2022 meeting be adopted as presented. I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Sloan?
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mundy?
Yes.
It is recommended the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 16th, 2022 be approved as submitted. Again, I need a motion and a second, please.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Sloan?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Mundy?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes. We don't have any comments from the public regarding agenda. Item number 8 is our student rep report. Mr. Llewellyn.
Thank you, thank you. We have McKenna with us tonight. She's going to come up and share just for a minute about whatever she wants to, but specifically about advisory, I think is one of the comments she's going to make. While she's coming up here, I will just mention to you that we have 2 meetings coming up in March 5th and 12th with our roundtable to kind of fine-tune the topics that we will share in April with just hopefully a litany of folks from the state legislature, OSBA, the governor's office. We're going to invite close to 40 to 50 people to this, plus superintendents. And I know they won't all show, but hopefully we'll have a decent turnout. We're going to try to have it in a public venue plus Zoomed, because we certainly know folks in Columbus may not be able to travel here, but that is something that by the 12th, hopefully we can announce in a meeting, the second meeting here in March, what that topic will be. And McKenna and the other students that are involved in that will be playing a big role in deciding that. So, floor is yours.
Okay. Good evening. I just wanted to discuss mainly one topic today. This year, some new stuff has been put into place for our advisory period. Some things such as social emotional learning have been set as a requirement for us to learn and experience in the advisory period. And some people, students and staff, have concerns with it. The major concern really is that it takes up time that we could be using for other things, like making up tests and doing work and studying and stuff like that. It takes away from that time, and I know that frustrates students and teachers as well. So that was just a concern I've heard from several teachers and tons of students. We just appreciate that time and advisory of having that small amount of time to do extra things that we don't have throughout the rest of the school day. As far as the roundtable, I wasn't able to make it to the Zoom meeting, unfortunately, because I had work. But the one on the 9th I'm looking forward to. I'm working with the 2 other representatives to come up with ideas, and it should be good, so I'm excited.
Got a quick question for you, McKenna. What is the general atmosphere like at the school right now with no masks?
It's actually, I mean, it's pretty good because a lot of people don't wear them anymore, obviously, and some of them do, and nobody seems to have arguments with people who do and who don't. It's do what you like. So it's very nice, actually.
So it's being accepted for where and who wants to do what.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Okay, thank you.
Just to kind of touch base real quick on the topics, the way this is going to be decided is in the meeting we had Saturday, we came up with 5 topics, and we're asking the kids, there's 9 of them, to rank these topics 1 to 5 in importance. So I'm going to share with you what they are, because the choice I think that comes out of this will be one of these 5 things. Financial literacy, career readiness, curriculum, the student voucher program, and substitute teacher policy. Specifically on the substitute teacher, whether or not school districts should be able to decide how they hire them, or whether there should be some flexibility in the qualifications that a sub needs. But this will be one of the topics, perhaps 2 if there's a consensus to talk about 2 of them. But unless the students come up with a 6th one or something out of this list that we didn't come up with, that's likely to be something in there that this meeting on the 9th addresses by the kids. So. Yeah.
So we received an email today about the topic of substitute teachers, and they're looking at extending the regulations that they have now, the looser regulations, to 2025, and they're going to try to fast track that. So I don't know if that's something that the kids are going to want to talk about, but that just came out this afternoon.
So you're saying whatever they might come up with for this, they would consider putting it in place through the 25 school year?
Mhm.
Wow, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I received an email from BASA this afternoon.
Okay.
So, House Bill 583 is what that is.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Moving on to our communications update with Janine Corbett.
It is so nice to see everyone's face and smiles. And I know the kids are enjoying it. I've been out to some of the schools, and like she mentioned, some of the kids are wearing masks, some are not, and that's absolutely fine. Some of the staff still continue to wear masks. That's fine too, and it's just nice to have the option. So before I get started tonight, I did want to mention 2 people associated with the school district that passed away recently. Doris Sanner, who was a school nurse here in West Carrollton for, I don't know exactly how long, but for many, many years. And of course, she is the mother-in-law of one of our teachers, Leanne Sanner, at the ECC. Also, Tracy Williams, the city manager, former city manager at West Carrollton. He was always very supportive of the school district, and we're sorry to hear about them. We want to extend our condolences to their family and friends. So, just a reminder that we have several ways you can stay in touch with the school district and find out what's going on. westcarrolltonschools.com is our website. You can also access Facebook at West Carrollton City Schools, Twitter at WC City Schools, and you can find both of those icons to connect on our homepage at the website. School delays and closures. I know the weather is nice, but we have had delays and closures even into April sometimes. So just a reminder that if something does occur, as it did recently, they will be announced on social media accounts. They'll be visible on the banner at the top of our homepage on the website. We'll send out a message via text and or voice message using one call, if at all possible. We were fortunate this last time. I shouldn't say fortunate because we called off school, but we were able to contact families the evening before. But usually calls start going out around 5:45 a.m. We also send information to the local news channels 2, 7, 22, and 45, so they're notified, and then they may begin televising alerts. Today, Reading Across America Day, and I can always count on the CF Holiday teachers. They dress in their favorite literary characters. They do this all week. It's not just today. It's every day over there, and they have a lot of fun with it. So I wanted to share a picture of that with you. And also, Schnell, they were not to be outdone. The lunch crew had a special treat for their kids when they came through because they were also wearing their Dr. Seuss t-shirts. And I just wanted to say I'm reading my favorite, or one of my favorite authors, John Grisham, a legal novel at the moment. So, hey, spend time reading. It's one of the most important things you can learn. You're going to use it all of your lifetime. And so instilling that love of reading begins really before you come to West Carrollton. So instill that with your kids. Read together tonight. And March is also Music in Our Schools Month. There's a lot of events going on. They're listed there on the screen. I want to thank one of our music teachers. He put this together for me, all the dates for the month. And always come out and support the kids as they perform on stage. West Carrollton is having a fundraiser. It's for the Education Foundation. And the West Carrollton Education Foundation supplies teachers with grant opportunities for special projects in their classroom. And they have fundraisers throughout the year to take care of those grants. And this one is as easy as eating at Chipotle's. And that will be March 9th from 4 to 8 at the Washington Township location. And just a thought, you could always go eat here and then go to the concert that night. So the concert starts at 7. I don't know if you've heard about this, but one of our wrestlers won a national title. Pretty impressive. He's been wrestling for nearly half his life. Eli is 7, and he's a second grade student at CF Holiday. And I asked him about kindness, and he said he likes to help others, especially his classmates, if they're having trouble in his favorite subject, which is math. Also, he likes to play football. So the new coach here, he's already eyeing that picture. It'll be a while, like 7 years before he gets to you, but hang tight, he'll be there. He's tough. He also has a twin brother. Jacob Udipole named Beth Mitchell as his teacher of influence in an essay he wrote as part of a college application. And it begins, "I've always wondered why someone would choose to work in the profession of teaching. Who in their right mind would want to graduate from school only to come back and spend the next 30 years of their life working in a classroom? There must be some other worldly motive that compels people to work a job where they are criminally underpaid to deal with immature teenagers on a daily basis." The rest of his essay is equally entertaining and also very complimentary. You can find the complete essay on our website at westcarrolltonschools.com under the district news. Again, it's Read Across America Day, so take some time, check that out. And you can help the Pirates continue to spread kindness. A lot of kindness from Eli and from Jacob, their kind words. And the student council at the high school is going to be passing out bracelets to students and staff with positive messages. And the National Honor Society recently spent time on Saturday at the Schnell Winter Carnival to help out. And we also had some of our high school students, if you saw the business windows painted in West Carrollton, that was because of work they were doing along with the city to have a Mardi Gras celebration. So we put that out on Facebook, and there were all kinds of kind comments, and we appreciate the kindness from the community. So as always, watch for information coming from your child's school and the superintendent that comes every week. So a lot of events that are specific to schools that will come directly from your building. And that was all I had this evening, of course, except to welcome Coach Mobley. And I think we're all very excited. I was very excited to meet him, and I think we're going to see some good things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our presentation tonight, Mr. Glover.
Good evening to everyone, and thank you, and definitely appreciate having me here. My topic tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about testing, and I'm really just going to mainly focus on testing from the elementary perspective, just kind of what our process is, and kind of how we begin the year, and kind of how we move through the year with the various tests that we have to take, and our students have to partake in this throughout the year. So the year basically begins with us receiving the testing schedule, of course, from curriculum, and with most of the elementaries, like my staff, we go over the entire testing schedule at the beginning of the year, just to, one, prepare ourselves on how we're going to communicate the testing schedule to the parents and to the students, and also to prepare parents with the information they need to be able to help prepare their students as well. Of course, with the numerous tests that we have our iReady diagnostic that begins exactly immediately as soon as we start school, about a week into school. And then we go to our district pacing tests, followed by the third grade guarantee, the OELPA test, which is the Ohio English, I always forget it, English Language Proficiency Assessment, the COGAT test, the alternate assessment test, then of course the state test, which comes later in the year. And then not to mention then at the ECC, the KRA, and also at the high school with the end of course exams and all those exams as well. So once we get that information out, we then start to communicate with parents our test, the first test that's coming up, and then we basically send information. I put some things in the newsletter about testing tips, about how to prepare your students for standardized testing, and then we go into communicating to parents primarily about what the test consists of, what will actually be measured by the test, and then what we do actually once we receive scores and information back from the test. So, for instance, the third grade reading guarantee, we basically send information out to the parents, letting them know, of course, the dates when the third grade reading guarantee is coming. And then we host a parent night for the third grade reading guarantee. Basically, we have parents and their child come in. We do a presentation on the third grade reading guarantee. We present exactly what's on the test, how many opportunities they'll have to meet the qualifying mark for the third grade reading guarantee, how they can help prepare their child, all the teachers' information and what they need to do to communicate with the teachers, so they can also get assistance or any questions answered. And then this year we added another element where we had, once the teachers went through the presentation, and then we had students and parents go back to the classroom, take out a Chromebook. Then we went to the Ohio State testing website, and we went through a couple of the practice test items. And this was just to give parents, one, a general idea of what's exactly on the test, but two, the parents an opportunity to see how to navigate and get to the practice site, because there's a lot of good information on that site. And so then when parents left that evening, we made sure every parent had a packet of resources that, again, had all the testing websites, all the some pre-release practice test items that they could work on with their child as well. The turnout was really good. I mean, we have close to about 90, I want to say 92 or so third graders, and we had 77, I want to say 77 parents attend. So turnout was really good. We were really happy to have that, and the communication's been really great with the parents. We've actually the principals, the elementary principals, and I, everybody replicated the same thing, but we talked about doing this on the kind of on a similar scale to prepare for state testing in April as well. And so we just with everything going on, we weren't able to plan it out for this year, but I think that would be something good that we could sit down and really plan out for next year. So then moving on, once the third grade reading guarantee, some of the things that we do in school as far as in-school test preparation, our teachers incorporate test questions or test-like questions in their problems of the day, in their questions of the day, and then gradually build up to having students partake or complete practice tests within the school as well. We definitely don't try to teach to the test, but we want to make sure that students are being exposed to test structure, questions, and then also that students have the opportunity to get on the actual sites and navigate some of the testing tools as well. And then this year in our building we have no new instruction, so we do use that time where we have each grade level has like a 30-minute window built into their schedules for intervention, and we also use that time to focus on test prep. So we look at test questions that the teachers actually take the students and they walk through step by step. It's a good time for discussion on how to, best strategies and best practices on how to solve problems or answer questions as well. And then primarily also going through those test features too. We use some of that time during there because kids it's a refresher for some kids, but kids that are coming up to third grade and it's new, their first year of standardized testing, they need to know how to advance the page. That's always the question that used to come up is, how do I get to the next page, or where do I answer the question at? Because the students just need to understand kind of how to manipulate the tools and highlighting certain areas and doing things of that nature with the test. So, and then it just moves on to us creating the schedule. This year, of course, with us having Chrome carts in each classroom, it does make that whole process a lot easier. Just from the elementary perspective, I know testing is always a high-stress time for students and parents and everything, but I think we do a good job of at least communicating and trying to put parents and students at ease when we approach testing and test season.
Thank you. From what I've sat here and learned over the last few years, the iReady test is one example of tests that we give that's not necessarily state required. Is there all those other tests you went through, and I don't know if I lost count at 7 or 8 different assessments, but would it be accurate to say that almost all of those are required to be done?
All except for the district pacing assessments are not required, but the third grade reading guarantee, the OELPA, the alternate assessment, the end of course exams at the high school, and the COGAT testing.
For people like Ms. Tice and Dr. Townsend who sit here and have been in this field a long time, 20 years ago, what did that look like? 2 tests?
Nothing like it looks like today.
It's
This started
crazy.
in 2002 with No Child Left Behind,
Right.
with the accountability that was federal, and it has just gotten out
Really, it
of
was
control.
pretty much the ACT test or SAT test.
And then
That
we
was relatively
did
it.
something similar to
when we
like
were
the
back.
COGAT or the Iowa
What we did when we were
twice, maybe twice in elementary school to get an IQ level and a benchmark. And then just the teacher-made test. So this is one of my biggest complaints. We spend so much
Too much
time
time.
testing kids,
Yeah.
yet the most beneficial data we get is from our iReady and our local assessments because it's current, it's ongoing, it's
Right.
the students that we have now, where a lot of the testing data we don't get until summer, after the kids are gone, or even the individualized value-added scores, they don't come out until after Christmas,
Yeah,
so.
I think there definitely needs to be a push from wherever to make the results faster for you.
Well, they
'cause-
can get them to us in a week if they wanted to,
Right.
but they don't.
If they wanted to, yeah. They
So
need an
that's something
incentive to
that
want
the
to.
kids need to talk to the legislators
Right.
about is testing,
There we go.
too
Yeah.
much of it.
I think they'd all agree with that. Too much testing.
Thank
So,
you.
Mr. Glover, while I got you here, how is the excitement level at the, at Holiday? Is it building?
It's-
Ask that.
It's very high.
I mean, you guys are on the front line there. You get to see the building going up.
Yeah.
And, it's getting close. Tell us a little bit what's going on.
Definitely. As far as the I mean, the students are definitely excited. Staff have actually had a tour. And actually the new staff actually had a tour, an opportunity to see the inside of the building, to what they've done so far. So after that, they were definitely very excited about, what the possibilities and the things that'll be new to them. And then actually, I just left the elementary literacy night over there, and actually I met a number of students who I currently do not have. So they're students either at 5th or 4th grade at Schnell and Russell, and their parents would come in like, hey, that'll be the principal at the new building next year. And the parents were like overly just overjoyed, knowing that we're having new schools and their students will be in a new building. So it was good to meet them over there today too. So
It's nice to hear the excitement spreading, not just
yeah,
inter-district, but out into the district itself.
And I hear that you're working on a schedule to get people that want to tour the building before it's demolished.
yes, actually, and if I got an email today, but I did not get an opportunity to confirm, but I think they have a date. I know we were on that call
Yes.
together, and you asked about a date. I think they have a date, and as soon as I confirm that, I will make sure you have that date.
Wonderful.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 11. I say we're going to have Jack Haig in place of Devin Berry tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the following personnel items. Item A is to accept the resignation of one individual for retirement purposes. Item B is to accept the resignation of one individual. Item C is to amend the salary of one individual due to additional training effective the beginning of the third quarter for the 21-22 school year. Item D is to grant a leave of absence to three individuals in accordance with the provisions of the Family Medical Leave Act.
I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sloan?
Mr. Llewellyn,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Mundy,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Item number 12, sir.
Okay, item 12, the superintendent recommends that the board approve the following personnel items. Item A is to rescind the following supplemental pupil activity contract from the individual listed for the 21-22 school year. And item B is to grant a supplemental pupil activity contract to two individuals for the 21-22 school year.
I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sloan, roll call.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Mundy,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Abstain?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn.
Yes.
Item number 13.
Okay, the superintendent recommends that the board approve the following personnel items. Item A is to accept the ratification to conditionally employ one individual pending approval by the Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation and consensual drug screening as required by Ohio Revised Code 3319.291 and the policies of the West Carrollton School District. Item B is to conditionally employ two individuals pending approval by the Bureau of Criminal Identification, Investigation, Consensual Drug Screening as required by Ohio Revised Code 3319.291, the policies of the West Carrollton School District. Item C is to grant a leave of absence to one individual in accordance with the provisions of the Family Medical Leave Act. Item D is to amend the medical leave of absence for one individual. And item E is to accept a resignation of one individual for retirement purposes.
I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Sloan?
Mr. Mundy,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 14, Mr. Sloan.
Thank you. I asked that the board adopt the resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Montgomery County Auditor as presented.
I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Mundy.
Yes.
Any comments?
This is kind of a formality. I mean, we do this every year, just a document with the Montgomery County Auditor where they supply this document to us, which just details all of our tax rates and levies that have been approved over the years. And I guess the main thing that we have control over is the bond millage. And somebody from the county auditor will contact me every December just to make sure that the bond millage rate is sufficient to raise enough money to make our debt service payments on our bond issue for the upcoming year. So that's the main variable, I guess. Otherwise, the general fund and the PI, I mean, those levies are like, those are in place. Not really. We don't have the ability to control those, but we do on the bond fund.
Great. Thank you. Great. On to our comments and reports. Any committee reports tonight?
That'll be real quick. We had a fantastic night with business people and business advisory council. That's what it was, and it was just a great time and meeting all sorts of different schools and business, all sorts of people. So it was just a really nice time, and it wasn't. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you.
It was good until I spilled the salad.
That wasn't on the superintendent, was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh. That'll get you fired, All right. Comments from our superintendent.
First off, I forgive you. No, he's fine.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate Beth Mitchell for being honored, and I cannot wait to go to luncheon with her. That's going to be a lot of fun. Today is Read Across America Day, one of my favorite days, so please read to your children all the time, but this month especially with Dr. Seuss's birthday. I have challenged the entire community to random acts of kindness. It comes out in my weekly newsletter. We have kindness ninjas at our preschool, so if you can follow suit with our 3, 4, 5-year-olds, please share those experiences on social media with us. It's nice to see. And watch out for the building tours. And as Mr. Mundy mentioned, we had Business Advisory Council last week. We had a nice dinner. There was a few businesses, several school districts, a very packed room, and it's something that happens yearly, and it's required by our legislators. And it would be nice to see more businesses show up and join our Business Advisory Council. It's a very active group. So that's all I have.
Mr. Sloan?
Nothing specific other than just communicating with the auditor a lot as they work on our 2021 audit, and just doing a lot of spreadsheets. Other than that, staying busy.
All right. We don't have any comments from the Education Association. Nothing from the classified tonight. Anything from our central office? There's a whole 2 of you here tonight, so. All right, moving on. General comments from the public, we have none. So we go to comments from our board members. Mr. Llewellyn. You can go first.
Well, I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to ask one question of Dr. Townsend, and it just has to do with graduation. I know it's a little early still, but UD Arena, I'm assuming, is still our venue. And if I'm right about that, are there any restrictions you know of so far or rules we're going to have to follow as far as masking, that sort of thing? Do you have any idea about that?
You know, I show up and I give a speech, right? No, I am not aware of any rules or regulations as of today, but I am also not the one who plans it. We have a committee here at the high school that does plan it. It is at UD, which I'm so excited that we are able to be there. I think it'll probably be similar to last year, minus hopefully the facial coverings.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
You dropped their mask.
That's all I have.
UD dropped the mask mandates, so it
The
sounds like
city
we're
of
mask-
Dayton dropped
I saw that.
not just the mask, but they dropped the testing requirement for unvaccinated people. So
I
they
saw that today.
they went a little above just masks. So hopefully that's
So we're
just a
down
trend
across
we'll
the
keep
state, so.
seeing. Yep,
I hope so.
I'm done.
Spring sports. It is upon us. Next Monday is our first day. Tennis is still looking for some people. I believe the rest of us, baseball, softball, and track, are always able to take new people. So please get your final forms up to date and listen to those announcements, because all of us are planning on having our practices start on Monday. I know softball and baseball have been practicing, so they're already ingrained in this. But the rest of us, and of course it's supposed to rain on Monday. But hey, we're hopeful this maybe will not be a rainy season. Fingers crossed. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Henry.
What I wanted to cover has already been covered this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mundy, your quote of the night is?
Of course, you know me, but I would like to start with thanking the coach for coming here tonight. It's fantastic to meet him, and I'm so excited to see how our football team will do next year under him. And then, of course, you know me, I have a quote, and this is by a Danish philosopher. I cannot say his name because it is Danish. And it says, not making a decision in itself is a decision. Not making a choice is itself a choice. And I just wanted to remind the people that are listening that, you know, make sure to make the right decisions and the right choices, and be sure to always make a difference. Thank you.
It's great to see everybody's faces. It's been a long 2 years. I'm glad that we're starting to loosen these things up and getting back to a little bit of normalcy. I'd like to welcome our new football coach, Mr. Mobley. It'll be interesting to see what he brings to our culture and to our Pirates, and we can go from there. Congratulations to Miss Mitchell. Jacob Putapole is a great kid. I've had an opportunity to coach him over the years with basketball and watch him run track and cross country for years. What a great honor. I would like to ask that in the next couple of meetings that we get an update on the seals that's going to be required for graduation. It doesn't have to be now, just
Yeah, I'm just sending an email to Craig
Okay.
since he's in charge.
I know that that next year is going to be the first year for SEALs to make a difference with graduation and credits. That will be a very different approach to the credits and what these kids are going to need, and it's going to give some of them some great opportunities. So I'd like to get a little bit of update on that.
I think the last time we looked, we only have maybe 16 kids not on track. So we're looking at ways, and that was recently, within the past week,
Yep.
juniors for next year.
Yeah, with
So-
Pirate Packs, we've got some kids that are panicking a little bit.
Yeah,
They're
volunteer
trying to get their
hours.
volunteer hours in for that SEAL. So look forward to that update, and we can go from there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, at least they're doing it now and not this time next year, right before they have to graduate, so that's good stuff.
That's true.
That will conclude our business meeting tonight. We are going to go into executive meeting. There will be no official business conducted after that meeting. Thank you and have a great night. Oh, we never-
Do a motion